You know, it's weird. Yeah, this is 100% the wine that they have at every book launch or book event in Dublin. I swear to God, this is what Hodges Figgis smells like to me. I can taste the Irish Writer Centre in this wine. I'm not even kidding. Hey guys, my name is Gloria and welcome back to my channel and my Spooktober celebrations. Today I want to talk about all things purple, cause all my clothes are purple. No, I'm just kidding. I did get some new awesome witchy purple clothes today, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just here to bask in the glow. But today I want to give some recommendations for spooky books that you can read in just one day. So I have tried to pick a few that you've probably seen or heard of around the booktube, horrortube community, but a few of them I'm hoping you haven't heard of and you can pick up some great books you haven't read before. So most of these are in and around the 200-page mark, but I've read all of these in a day and I think it's totally doable. So let's get into the recommendations. So first up, I have a book that I read a few months ago, I think, and it was sent to me very kindly as an ARC review, and really I'm very appreciative of people who send physical books, especially because it actually costs money, but who just send books for me to do reviews of. I know a lot of people are a bit iffy about ARCs and stuff. I'm just appreciative, that's a word, of them, because I don't think I would have seen or heard of this book otherwise, and there's so many great books that I've read that I never would have known existed if someone hadn't reached out and said, hey, could you read this? So thank you very much for sending those. This is book 1 of The Fearing by John F. D. Taff. I still have not got around to reading the other ones in this series. I've seen all of the covers together on Instagram and they all connect to make this really cool picture. His writing is just so crisp and so fresh and so straight to the point. This book in particular is about a man who is anxious about everything. He's agoraphobic, he's afraid of everything, but he has to leave his house in order to get some food, and as he's being forced to interact with people, he starts to become aware of their fears, and one thing leads to another, and as these fears come to light and as he inexplicably imposes them on people, they start to leave him and he starts to become less afraid. And this isn't just an isolated event. There are different people across the country who are experiencing very strange things that could be connected to this guy, and these are quite disastrous, large-scale things. So it's very interesting, very well written. I definitely still want to get the rest of the books in the series, and it is only 98 pages. It's not even a full 100, so you will fly through this because it is thrilling. It will grab you and it will keep you. Next up is an Irish author, and I was lucky enough to be at the launch for this book. That was the first time I met Sean O'Connor. So it is The Mongrel, a novella by Sean O'Connor. I will be talking about this book in my Irish Spotlight video next week, but this is 143 pages and it is about a heavily pregnant woman in an abusive relationship who decides to go for a drive with her boyfriend into the infamous Wicklow Mountains, and while there, their car breaks down, it begins to snow, and he goes off to look for help. So she is alone in the snow with no connection to the outside world and a bump that is getting ready to burst, and things do not go well for her. But this was his first novel. He has a second one out and a third one coming in November as well. It's very short, it's very gripping, and there really are some harrowing moments in this, so I would recommend that. Next up on my list, I did do a full review of this, is Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. It is very short. It is 110 pages long. Again, gripping, great characters. This one is about a woman whose son, 20-year-old or so son, died in a horrific car crash, and 2 years later she's still grieving. She's still visiting the spot where he died, and she comes to believe that she could possibly bring him back by offering a sacrifice to some sort of entity, and something comes back, but whether it's her son or not is a question. But this one, really great characters, really heartbreaking as well. Definitely recommend that one. From the e-versions that I have read, I really have to recommend The Possession of Natalie, Glasgow by Hailey Piper. This one is only 66 pages, and just thinking about that is strange because it feels so rich and so full of detail, and I can see everything so clearly and all of the characters so clearly. I actually can't believe that that is 66 pages, but wow. But this is, I love a good possession story. I'll always love a possession story, and this is a possession story with a twist. So you begin the story with a mother and some sort of a midwife, but she has some sort of occult dealings, and they're listening to strange things happening in the house. They open the hallway door, and it is the woman's young daughter who is possessed by something that is prowling the halls, and they have to delve into the mother and daughter's life to try and figure out what is possessing their daughter and how to get rid of it. And I can't say enough good things about Hailey Piper's writing. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. I need to read all of her other books, and this one is one that will possess you for the entire day. It's only 66 pages and it is such a good story. You need to read it. Next up is another superbly written book. You've probably seen it everywhere. It's True Crime by Samantha Kolesnik. I did a review on this. I'll link that up above. It is 156 pages and it is brutal. It's not for the faint-hearted. If you're squeamish, it's probably not for you. It tells the story of a young girl and her brother fleeing from an abusive home, and because of the abuse they've suffered, they're damaged by it. They commit some violent acts themselves. They have violent acts committed against them, and yeah, it is it's just not great, the stuff that happens to them. But the actual story, it's so well written. I'm not a huge fan of sort of really damaging abuse like that. I'm fine with gore and, you know, slasher things, but this is really sort of a lot more poignant. But it's so well written that I don't want to say I enjoyed it, because I didn't enjoy the events that happened to these characters, but it's just one of those things that's really well written and unforgettable. I think that's a good word for it. Another ebook that I don't think a lot of people would have seen, but this was one that was given to me to review for my blog. I'm very glad I got to read it. So it is Nomad by Jamie Nash, and this is a sci-fi horror. It's quite interestingly written. It's 198 pages, and it is quite interestingly written because it's written moment by moment, and you're totally with the character. You're with her as these things are happening to her. You're thrown immediately into the deep end. She wakes up on a ship in a big tube full of liquid, and she's drowning, and someone comes along, smashes it, she gets out. There are other people drowning, there's fire, there's explosions, there's crazy stuff happening. She has to stay alive. She manages to get to another part of the ship with a couple of ragtag people, no memories, and they'll have to figure out why they're there. if they're good or if they're bad, who they can trust, and they have to try and figure out a way to get off this ship or to get out of the ship and to see who is watching them on the ship's monitors. It is breakneck speed, it is very well written, and if you're into sci-fi sort of alien spaceship kind of things, I would definitely recommend that you check this one out because it is very entertaining. Next up we have another possession story. This is one that I'd seen quite a lot. I'd seen it around. I haven't really seen many reviews of it or anything, but I just knew that I needed to read it, and it is Come Closer by Sara, Gran. And whoa, that's basically what I think of it now. It is 166 pages. It tells the story of a woman who begins by hearing strange knocking sounds in her flat that she shares with her husband, and they start hearing strange things. It turns out when she goes away for a while, her boyfriend doesn't hear them. Then she starts to become very irritated with her boyfriend. She doesn't really want to be around him. She gets annoyed really easily. She gets annoyed with people at work. She starts to do things that she can't really explain. She's told that she's done things that she doesn't remember doing, and she is possessed by a demon. I think that's quite clear, but the way that it's told and just the slow creep into it, and her loss of self and her loss of control over her life, it's well done, and it's taught me a lot about possession stories, so I would definitely recommend that you read this. I was hooked from the very beginning. It's got very short chapters as well, so you can pick it up and put it down whenever you need to. Definitely recommend this. Next up, for an e-version that I read, I think maybe I can't remember how I got this. I think maybe Chad Lutz was giving away a few of these on Twitter, and he very kindly sent me one. So it's The Pale White by Chad Lutz, or Chad Lutsky. I've seen it pronounced as well. This is, first of all, purple. Second of all, it is a harrowing tale of 3 horrifically young girls who are being held captive by a disgusting piece of crap, excuse for a human being, and the sort of stories that they've told themselves to be able to live through the horrific events, but thankfully you do come into the story just as they're attempting to make their escape, and it's just, he did it really well. He didn't it didn't feel exploitative or gross or anything like that. I'm quite sensitive to these kind of stories of child abuse myself, and I just obviously it's not an easy thing to read, but he handled it very well, and you really do feel for these girls, and you really get to know their characters and the damage that they've been dealt because of the way that they've had to live. It's not a fun, happy horror story, but it's definitely an important one to tell, and it's very relevant to a lot of people, unfortunately, today. So I would, if you're looking for some good writing and you're looking for some difficult situations to deal with, I would recommend The Pale White by Chad Lutsky. 3 more books that I would like to recommend. One I think I've spoken about before. This is Sour Candy, or if you're from Donegal, Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. Absolutely fantastic cover as usual. This one really caught my eye because of the cover, but also because it's sort of part of one of my worst nightmares in life. So this one is only 74 pages, very quick. It tells the story of a man who goes to buy some confectionery in Walmart for his girlfriend, and while he's there he sees a strange woman and a strange child who's eating a lot of sour candy. They're just acting weird. They're acting like Walmart people, I suppose. But he tries to leave, and he ends up accidentally crashing into their car. And as the woman is injured, she seems to give over the child to him, which might seem strange, but then everyone believes it, and the police say it's his kid. His girlfriend's gone because apparently they broke up because he had this kid, but the whole universe is in agreement that this child is his, and he knows that he's never had a kid, and the only thing the kid eats is sour candy, so he has to live in his house now with this strange kid that is not his, that he can't get rid of. And that's literally one of my recurring nightmares, is that I have to take care of a kid that isn't mine. So this is horrifying, it's weird, and it just gets weirder, and it's short. You can get bet into this in a day, and I would recommend it. Next up is a recent read of mine, and I will be diving into some Clive Barker on Wednesday, but for the moment, this is Hellbound Heart. I won't go too much into it today. I have a feeling people know the story anyway. It is 164, and I was surprised that it was this short. So this is where the Hellraiser movie comes from. I'm not a fan of the movie, but I am now a huge fan of Clive Barker because of reading this book. I will be diving more into him and Dean Koontz on Wednesday, but this is short. It's basically a horror classic, and I recommend it for anyone who wants to read some really good writing. And last but definitely not least is it's a 202 page novel called Remains by Andrew Cull. I think I did a review of this as well. This is a story about grief. It is a story about not being able to let go, the madness and the real grip that grief has on you. Andrew Cull is a movie maker himself, and you can tell that in his writing. It's very visual. It is very well written. I was reading this and could absolutely see it as a movie. We start off with Lucy Campbell, who is in a mental health facility. She is in there because her son died in a horrific way and she wasn't really coping with it. She is now discharging herself, even though her doctor thinks that she still needs help. And of course she goes to the place where her son was murdered, and she begins to believe that a part of him is still in that house, and there's definitely something going on there, and it's just a case of figuring out whether it is her son, whether it's helping her at all to be there, whether it's helping her get through her grief, whether it would be her still spending time with her son and being there for him when she couldn't be and she should have been. But the writing of this book really does just pull you in. It gets its claws into you, and it's also not your typical book. I was quite surprised by some of the parts in this book. It does deal with a spooky house with something in it, and I think there's some fresh ideas in here as well for horror. Fresh visuals, fresh spooks as well, so absolutely recommend. I think that's the longest one that I have in this video, but there you go. So thank you so much for joining me in this recommendation video. Thank you for putting up with my shenanigans. I hope that you pick up all of them are upside down. I hope that I mentioned at least one book that you haven't read, haven't heard of, and that you can enjoy that fresh. Thank you so much for the new subscribers as well. If you have a book that is 200 pages or less that you think I might enjoy, please put it down below. Put it down below for the other viewers who might enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. and I shall be back tomorrow for the next video.